Yeah, Mark, let's go. Get in here. Take a seat. We got a couple of hours before our next game against the, noted in a previous video, Boise Brave. You know, a couple of weeks ago, I started a new series on the best high school mascots across the country. We start on the West Coast, move through the mountain region. Can't wait to see that game between Yuma High School and Orofino High School so we can see the criminals versus the maniacs. This time, let's go across the Rockies into the high plains. Wah, wah, wah. North Dakota down to Texas. Big 12 country. Before Missouri jumped to the SEC. What are the best high school mascots in the old Big 12 footprint? Let's find out. Let's go rogue. Okay, so first of all, this is beyond me. How is it that a school, no, 3 of them, can get away with calling their teams the Midgets? Dickinson High School in North Dakota, McLaughlin High School in South Dakota, Esterville Lincoln Central in Iowa, Putnam County in Missouri. Really? And presidents, man. The Roosevelt Rough Riders in St. Louis, the Kennedy Celts in Manchester, Missouri. Oklahoma City gives us the Grant High School Generals. In Des Moines, we find the Lincoln Rail Splitters. Love that name. Lafayette High School in Missouri goes by the name Fighting Irish. That's dumb. Marquis de Lafayette was America's favorite fighting Frenchman, Lafayette! And I still get irritated by the mascot being the same as the school. I mean, the Lincoln High School Lynx, and I guess it's better than the Lincoln Logs. The Key High School Keyhawks. The Thompson Tommies, kind of gives us a feeling of the Untouchables there. And the Fox High School Foxes. Let's start in North Dakota. The worst mascot name in North Dakota has to go to the Ray High School Ray Jays. I mean, come on, your mascot's named for a rapper? What's that all about? You can't even play his music while the team's warming up. And the video I made with Kim Kardashian, them going, and the parents of Ray, North Dakota, support this? What's that? Oh, well, never mind then. Okay, North Dakota, honorable mention. The Central Cass High School Squirrels. Rodents, man. The Grafton Spoilers. The Central Valley Valiants. Love the alliteration. The Minot Magicians. But the best mascot in North Dakota? How about the Ray High School Ray Jays? Let's move down to South Dakota, where you find the Beersford Watchdogs, the Del Rapids Couriers, the Mitchell Colonels, not the military rank, the little pieces of corn inside the corn cob, the Newell Irrigators, creative, rare, the Rapid City Central High School Cobblers, like the guys that repair shoes, the Watertown Arrows. Best high school mascot in South Dakota, though. How about the Sturgis High School Scoopers? Sturgis, man. That's where the motorcyclists go, isn't it? So, what's a scooper? The name was derived from a nickname given to the town of Sturgis by the cavalrymen of the late 1800s. Cavalrymen claimed that they were scooped by the town's merchants every payday and referred to the town as Scooptown. The Sturgis High School Scoopers. Let's come down to Nebraska, where you find the West Point Cadets. It's quite a ways from West Point, New York. You also find the Benson High School Bunnies in Omaha. Bunnies. Probably like that one in Monty Python. And the North Star Navigators. But the best high school mascot in the state of Nebraska, well, I'm going to go with the Cozad High School Haymakers. Not only is it an angry guy with a pitchfork that knows how to use it, he even looks like Little Red, the University of Nebraska's mascot. But it's also the term given to a knockout punch. Double meaning. Love it. All right, let's go out to Missouri, where you find the Archie High School Whirlwinds. sow the wind and reap the whirlwind. The Fredericktown Black Cats, the Hickman Cupies, that's a freaking doll. How about the Pleasant Hill Roosters, or the girls' team that they call the Chicks? I love this one. The St. Michael the Archangel Guardians. You know, I was going to go best with the West Point Zizzers, but then I read the explanation on the school's website, and a Zizzer simply is an expert in an activity, a person of highest caliber, ability, or reputation, a winner. It goes on to say that when shown an assignment, a teacher would say, "That's a Zizzer." Cool. Your mascot is a synonym for the 1900s version of awesome. If school was built in the 1920s, they'd be the West Plains Bee's Knees. Nope. Instead, I'm going with the Aurora High School Hound Dogs. No D at the end of hound. The Bumpus Hounds. Da-da-da-da-da. Lots of bulldog mascots, lots of huskies. Give me a good old hound dog to get the job done. Is there anything more American than a hound dog? Let's go back to Kansas, where you find the Dodge City High School Demons. I think the Dodge Motor Company made a car after that name also. Harrington Railroaders and the Newton Railroaders. You know, Kansas and Pacific Railroad was one of the stocks you could buy in my 1920 stock market game. They all crashed. I was tempted to go with the Pratt Greenbacks. Although they have a frog as their mascot, Kansas was a center of the populist movement. See my video on the meaning behind the Wizard of Oz and the populace wanting to loosen the money supply with greenbacks. But let's go. How can I pass on the Heston Swathers as the best mascot in high school Kansas? I wasn't sure what a swather was until I looked the school up. Look at this mascot. That is awesome. All right, let's go to Oklahoma, where you'll find the Dewey High School Bulldoggers. Not the Bulldogs, the Bulldoggers. The Watts Engineers. The Alva Goldbugs, symbol of excellence. Can't argue with that. The Bray Doyle Donkeys. The Powley Pugs. That pug looks remarkably like the Fresno State Bulldog. How about the Holland Hall Dutch? And the Woodward Boomers. Unlike the Sooners, these were the people that took the natives' land legally. If you remember your U.S. history class, the Indian Removal Act of the early 1930s forced the removal of the 5 civilized nations of the southeastern United States: the Creek, the Seminole, the Choctaw, the Chickasaw, and the Cherokee, and moved them all to Indian Territory, what would later become Oklahoma. That takes us to some Native American place names and mascots like the Tulsa Union Redskins, the Tecumseh Savages. Oh yeah, Oklahoma still uses names that are banned in most other states. The Seminole Chieftains. And how about the Cherokee Chiefs? My best mascot from the state of Oklahoma, though, is the Chickasha Fighting Chicks. A little nepotism here. I told you about my cousin's husband, who was the minor league manager a few videos back. He actually played minor league baseball in the early 80s as part of the old Montreal Expos organization. He played Double-A baseball in the early 80s for the Memphis Chicks, the Chickasaws. Let's finally get to Texas. Now, I don't know every high school mascot in the country. I could give you all 130 Division I mascots, no problem, but not high school. See, I was getting these from the Max Preps database. When I went through Texas, the list seemed a little short. Did I miss Odessa Permian and Dallas Carter and Midland Lee? And the Flower Mound Fighting Farmers? Yeah, I saw Friday Night Lights. And first of all, that's why I didn't have the Tillamook Cheesemakers on my list of Oregon mascots. Sherwood Bowman, you're out. Tillamook Cheesemakers, let's go. Let's go back to Texas and get the more accurate list. Here are my honorable mentions. How about the El Campo Ricebirds? Or the Fort Worth Poly Parrots, kind of like the Los Angeles Poly Parrots in California. The Mason Punchers, the Mesquite Skeeters, the Central Catholic Buttons of San Antonio. Hey, Kirk. Not like the buttons on a shirt, though. These are the individual segments on a rattlesnake's rattle. Scary. The Hamlin Pied Pipers. Yes, that Pied Piper. The Cuero Gobblers. The Hutto Hippos. In Port Lavaca, you have the Calhoun Sand Crabs. And in Arlington, you have the Bowie Volunteers. I assume that's Jim Bowie and his knife, who led the Texas Volunteers at the Alamo until becoming bedridden with a sickness that was never diagnosed. He was killed in his bed during the attack. I had to hem and haw on this one. For history, I like the Sam Rayburn High School Texans from Pasadena. Not to be confused with Gene Rayburn of the old Match Game show. Sam Rayburn is the former Speaker of the House of Representatives. He was so cool that they named one of only 2 congressional office buildings for him. For out-and-out weirdness, how could you not go with the New Braunfels High School Unicorns? And for the mascot, the guy in the actual suit, I like the Texas City Stingerees. My choice, though, for best Texas high school mascot, because of its originality, intimidation factor, and for its regional significance, I'm going to go with the Crystal City Javelinas. Javelina is like a wild boar animal, native to the Rio Grande Valley. Make it look like the Arkansas Razorback. That looks awesome. So how'd I do? Are you from Big 12 country? The Dakotas? Texas? Did I miss an awesome mascot? Did I miss yours? Let me know in the comments below. I hope you had fun. I had fun, but I won't quit my day job. And next time in a high school stadium on a Friday night, waiting for the kickoff of the Criminals versus the Maniacs. Remember me, I'm Mark Haggard. I'm a history teacher, and I've gone rogue.